Welcome back, everybody. In today's video, we're going to be unboxing two deadly vipers, two super underrated vipers that you never see in the venomous snake hobby. Now, I actually only know one other person with vipers just like these, but these guys right here are super deadly, and they also get huge. So if you Google the top 5 largest vipers, it'll give you a completely wrong answer because these guys are definitely in the top 3. Now, right next to me, we got these guys, which are some of the rarest vipers in the venomous snake hobby. Super underrated. You guys are going to love these, and I guarantee the hype around these guys is going to grow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up my phone on a tripod because I'm filming by myself today. We're going to set it up. We're going to take these two boxes, put them on the floor, and I'm going to show you guys exactly what we got. But before we do that, I just want to show you guys what they're going to go in. So this right here is our little quarantine enclosure. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to test these snakes. We're going to go ahead and deworm them, and they're going to be quarantined in this rack right here. So we got a little bit of the coconut husk and some fresh water for these guys. They have been traveling for about 2 days to get here to Florida, all the way from Pennsylvania. So this setup will definitely do. And I also got a pair. So if I want to, I can actually breed these guys. Now, originally, I didn't want to get a pair. I only wanted to get one of these vipers, but I had to buy both in order to get this species, which is okay, because if I don't sell the other one, I could just breed these guys and there will be more in the venomous snake hobby. Before we unbox those vipers, I want to give a huge shout out to R&E Enclosures for building me this custom rock background. Now we're going to go ahead, we're actually going to fit this in one of these enclosures. And we're going to do all of these enclosures down the line with these custom rock backgrounds. So if you guys want one of these backgrounds, I'll put the link below to R&E Enclosures, and you can order one for yourself. He also does custom cages and all kinds of really cool stuff. Now these are technically adults, but they get a lot bigger. Now these snakes will get from 7 to 7.5 feet long. All right, let's go ahead and unbox. Let's start off with just one, and then we'll get into the other. Now, one of these snakes is a little bit lighter and a little bit larger. Now, unfortunately, they are not labeled, so I don't know which one's a female and which one's a male. Now, what we're gonna do, we're gonna start off with one. Just like every other snake we unbox, we're unfamiliar with the snake, so we're not going to take it out. We're going to try not to tail or free handle or anything like that until we get to know the individual snake. But let's start off, let's just get these guys out of here, and let's see if you can take a guess before I tell you what these are. Now, I actually first fell in love with these snakes when I saw them on Viper Keeper's channel. Now, the last video he made with one of these snakes was like 19 years ago, which shows you how long they've been around in the hobby. But they're still not too common. I only know one person nowadays with these snakes. Now, this right here is the Moorish viper. Now, these are a super rare species. If you look at the tip of their tail, they have kind of modified scales. They're a little bit larger. So you can tell that this snake actually uses their tail for coddling. And babies will actually have more of a brighter tail. So that's how we can tell they specifically use that tail for coddling. But look at this guy. Has basically a bunch of half circles, kind of like a zigzag pattern running down their back. Now, the person who actually sold me these snakes raised them from babies, and they are an unrelated pair, which is awesome. So if we decide to breed them, this is, two really good bloodlines. They're very nice and light, but these snakes are super variable when it comes to color. Now, these Moorish vipers could be orange. They could be a greenish tint. They talk about a green locality. There's a super pale locality, and then there's the really gray beige ones, which is what these guys are right here. Let's give you guys a closer look. It's hard to get the true colors with this lighting, but this right here is the Moorish viper. I know it doesn't look like much, but I promise you guys, in a couple years, this snake will be 6 to 7 feet long, with the males getting a little bit longer. Now, the Moorish viper is native to Northwest Africa, so you're gonna find these guys in basically the Morocco area. They're also called the blunt-nosed viper or the Atlas viper. But look at that, a super cool species of venomous snake. Let's go ahead and let's pull out the other one. All right, and there is the other one. Now, by the looks of it, I would say the male is on the right by the length of his tail, and the female on the left, it looks like she has a little bit nicer colors. And I think the females have more of a brighter color, and the males are more of a darker color. But to give you guys an idea on how big these guys actually get, I'm gonna throw up 2 photos from my buddy's page, just so you guys can see how big an adult is. So he's got 2 adults. you'll see them in a full-size trash can, and we'll pop up a photo now. It looks like the female is a teeny tad bit underweight, but that's okay. We're gonna get these guys up to weight quick, and we're gonna get their size up as well. But look at that. I know, guys, they don't look like much. They're kind of just really brown, but these vipers get absolutely huge. Now, when I get a 4 or 5 foot enclosure, we're actually gonna put them together. But for now, we're just gonna put them in their own 2 separate tubs, just in case, with some nice fresh water so they can get hydrated. Now, it was a 2-day trip on Delta Cargo to get these guys. They were soaked before, so they should be okay, but we still wanna, you know, make sure they drink and make sure they got some time to stretch out and relax. Then we'll go ahead and we'll feed these guys in a couple days. So we'll cut this video to where we feed them. That way you guys can see. But it looks like these snakes are pretty laid back. Now that male is kind of getting in an S-shaped position. Looks like he's gonna strike. But the lady who sold me these said they aren't too bad. She said even when it comes to feeding, they just like to grab the prey off the tongs. Now in Morocco, these guys are gonna be eating lizards, small birds, and small mammals. There's something called a Moorish squirrel, and that is another one of the prey items for these guys. So we're just gonna put them on rats. I think that'll be enough. If any of them are picky, we might switch to chicks. But these right here are 2 awesome little vipers. Let's go ahead, let's get them in their new home, and we'll cut to when we feed them. But like I said, these are extremely underrated. I mean, so when I saw these guys available, I had to go ahead and buy these snakes. Now, if I do decide to sell one of them, it might be that male, but I don't know, because the males get bigger, but the females are prettier, so I kind of want to keep them both. But if I were to sell one of these snakes, it would definitely be for around $1,500 to $1,800, just because they're so freaking rare. Now, if I decide to keep them and breed them, I can make more money, and if they get larger, they're going to be worth a fortune. But we need some names for these vipers, so if you guys have a name for the male and the female, something that kind of goes together, don't be afraid to comment it down below, and we'll name these guys after what you guys pick. But look at that. Yeah, it looks like the male on the right has a longer tail than that female. All right, before he gets away, I'm gonna put this guy in the tub. Now, tubs are actually an excellent decision if you get a brand new snake. You don't wanna take a brand new snake and throw it in a cage like this where you're walking past all day and it's stressing it out and it's striking at you. But when you put them in a tub, they feel very safe and secure. And as you can see, those guys are probably around 3.5 foot. And they look tiny compared to these big tubs. So this is gonna be perfect for them. It's nice and dark, so these guys can just hang out, relax, recover, relieve the stress from being transported, and then soon introduce them together. Hopefully we'll do it during breeding season, which is actually around May. And hopefully, just hopefully, we can get some babies. Now, I think if we don't get babies this year, which is kind of highly unlikely because they're in a new home, definitely next year. I see no reason why we can't get these snakes up to around 5 foot by next year. If you look, they look a little bit dusty. That's just because they were being soaked before they were transported. So they were being soaked, then they were in aspen, and that's why they have that little dusty look to them. But look at that viper. You can really see why they call them the blunt-nosed viper. They do have a super blunt nose. And they really remind me of like a Russell's viper. And if you look at the Latin name, Deboia maritanica, just like a Russell's viper, starting with Deboia. But some people actually call these guys Vipera mortanica. Like Viper Breeder used to refer to them as Vipera mortanica. So that's how underrated and unknown this species is. If you look online, there's little to no information about these snakes. All right, guys, it's been about 2 weeks since we got these Moorish vipers. So let's check on them right now. Right here's the male. Look at that guy, doing nice and well. We fed them a tiny little meal a couple days after we got them. It's been about another week, so we're gonna give them a nice full meal. Come over here and watch how these guys eat. I mean, they're not too bad. They are a super fast striker. Look at that, smash that. And if you look at the venom is actually clear on the side of that rat's face. Now, typically snake venom is orange, but these guys have a nice clear venom. So we're gonna drop that down for the male, and we're gonna get one for the female. All right, guys, the second Moorish viper, this right here is the female. This is the nicer of the two. And I'll tell you what, I think I'm gonna go ahead and sell the male. Now the male is gonna get bigger, which is better, but the female is a lot prettier. I mean, look at the colors. So if any of you guys want a male Moorish viper, let me know. Go ahead, DM me on Instagram, stone_m8, and I'll hook you up with a Moorish viper, as long as you live in the proper state with the proper licenses and have experience. Let's see if this female wants a Ooh, look at that. Smash that rat. And yeah, she's a lot prettier. She's got nicer eyes. She's got a lighter body color. If you guys want a Moorish Viper that's gonna get absolutely huge, that male is the one to get. Now, females are still gonna get big, but the colors on her are just a lot nicer. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and just keep this female. All right, so we fed those two guys, but we do have a lot more rats. So while we're here feeding, let's go ahead and feed some other snakes. Let's go ahead and let's feed the blue Insularis, which is an absolute pig. We're probably gonna have to start putting her on a diet soon. I mean, look how fat that snake is. We don't want to get her too fat and get her to have fat on her organs and die early, but we'll give her the smallest meal today that we were going to give the Bushmaster. Nice. Smash that rat. The Mengsheng Viper, we're going to have to heat up his rat too, so we'll do that with the Bushmaster. The next snake we're going to feed is the Coastal Taipan. Now, I actually am considering selling this snake, and I saw a really, really cool PNG Taipan that I think I'm going to buy. But this snake is, I don't know. I kind of want more of a deadly Taipan now. I said the opposite when I first got him, that, oh, I'm glad he's not so crazy. But now I kind of want a crazy Taipan just to make things more interesting. Now, believe it or not, Taipans can eat very, very big prey items. So you might think to give them something smaller because their head is so small. But really, you want to give them a really kind of decent sized prey item. Because in the wilds of Australia, they're eating huge, huge preys. Ooh, there you go. Monocled cobras are some of the most aggressive and best eaters. Look at that. Even when I'm yanking back trying to pull the rat, this guy is not shy at all. So we'll drop that right there. I try to not feed the cobras as much because, I mean, they really just poop so much. So the less you feed them, the less they poop. This right here is the Western Diamondback Rattlesnake. You see, just took a huge dump and actually dropped 2 slug eggs. Now, rattlesnakes give live birth, but they still can be egg bound. So what happened is I bred her to a male Arizona blacktail rattlesnake trying to make hybrids. They did breed, but all of the eggs were infertile. So every time she poops, she's been dropping infertile eggs. Now she's dropped probably around 8 infertile eggs. If she stops dropping them and I still see them in her midsection, I have to tube her and remove them using my hands and a probe. But she just pooped, so she's probably ready for another meal. And crazy snake. Literally flings venom everywhere. I don't know why she's so crazy. We got my big, beautiful Gaboon Viper. One of my biggest snakes, so we want to give him the bigger rat. We're going to give him a nice medium rat. Now, even though Gaboon Vipers are huge, they still shouldn't be eating huge prey items just like the black-headed Bushmaster because they digest super, super slow. Now, the most common killer of Gaboon Vipers is overfeeding and too large of a prey. Now, if you feed them, let's say 2, 3, 4 rats, they'll actually regurgitate them if they don't have the proper heat. As you see here in a second, he's gonna smash that rat. Look, he gives no warning when he's about to strike. Watch this. Out of nowhere. Crazy. Scares me every time. All right, moving on, we have the Tazabcan rattlesnake, one of the most underrated rattlesnakes and one of the most beautiful rattlesnakes. Oh my God. All right, he got it, so we're just gonna put it right there. He likes to do one strike, come back and eat it. Some snakes will strike, hold on. Every snake's different in their own way. All right, next we have the king cobra. Now, typically, my strategy, what I do is I just give her 1 medium rat. Now, at the end, when I have leftovers, and if there's a snake that doesn't eat, she gets all the leftovers. So right now, we're gonna have probably 2 leftover from the main batch. The puff gaboon may not eat, so she's probably gonna get around 4 rats. But right now, we're just gonna toss 1 in there. And she's a super smart snake, so she's gonna find that rat immediately. Look at that. But that's a tiny little meal. You gotta think, this king cobra is eating like 5, 6, 7 foot long rat snakes and pythons in the wild. So when you're feeding rats, you definitely need to feed a lot of rats to match the amount of food they'll be eating in the wild. And they're super active snakes. I mean, out of all the snakes, the king cobra is constantly running back and forth and back and forth and back and forth all across the cage. We do gotta give her some more water. So let's reach in here. Adjust her water bowl. All right, guys, moving on outside to my outdoor boa cage. We got 2 boas in here, and you can see we got 2 medium rats. One's actually kind of closer to a small rat size. So this big girl is actually on a diet because she was so fat when I got her from Fish and Wildlife. So every week we just give her a little snack to keep her going, give her some energy, but we want her to lose weight. We don't want her to gain weight. Now when she loses her weight all the way to where I want, we'll start feeding her a large rat. every week. All right, she doesn't seem to be too hungry. Hopefully, as it warms up throughout the day, she'll go ahead and eat that rat right there. If not, the smaller one definitely will. You can see she's poking her head out right there. We got a little bit of cleaning to do in here. See if she wants to smash that rat, of course. So if she doesn't eat that, we'll give it to the little guy. All right, let's get out of here and feed the Mangshang and the blackheaded. If your snake is not eating, either an African soft fur or a warmed up rat will do the trick. And if your snake still doesn't eat, it's because of something else like breeding season, or your temperature is wrong, or your snake is sick. But if we put this rat here, this guy should pick it up with his heat pits and strike the rat. There you go, immediately. Crazy difference between a cold rat and a smoking hot rat. So that right there's a black-headed bushmaster. The Mangshang viper is a little bit more tough. You're gonna see she's probably not gonna strike it off the rip. You really gotta push it against her nose a few times. It'll make her mad, and that's just how she eats. Now it's a lot simpler than going to the pet store and getting a live rat, so it's what we gotta do. So what I do, this is another trick, just push it against her face. See how she starts striking it? She's gonna strike it, she gets that taste of rat in her mouth, and eventually, just like that, she'll hold the rat. So you kind of got to irritate the snake, push it, push it, push it, push it, and once they get that taste of rat in their mouth, they'll stop striking and just go ahead and bite on them. Look at those two huge fangs. Man, I love the color on this guy. And that right there is the end of today's video. If you guys enjoyed today's video, don't forget, like, comment, most important part, subscribe to the channel. Let us know what would be a good new name for those Moorish vipers, and let us know what kind of content you guys want to see next. Crocodile content, venomous snake content. If you got some crazy video ideas, some experiments you want us to do, go ahead and comment it down below, and we'll make some new videos.